I want to do a video on a very interesting tobacco that I've just got a hold of. First off, you're looking at a book. Now this is a book that I've shown before. This is the Encyclopedia of Smoking and Tobacco by Arlene B. Hirschfelder. I believe that's how you say it. Anyway, this is a fantastic reference if anyone is ever going to do some kind of report on tobacco. I mean, this dates back from the beginning of tobacco and, you know, all of its uses, whether it's smoked, snorted, chewed, what have you. If you're ever going to do any kind of, you know, school report or even personal, you know, research on the history of tobacco, this is the book, the very best book, in my opinion, on the subject. Okay, so I want to show you this because this is one of the references for the information used in this video, as well as some other websites. I will link you to one website I found particularly helpful in tax stamps, you know, information on tax stamps, which is probably boring for most of you. But just in case you're interested in the footnotes of the information for the video, there you go. Okay, so interesting book. Now, obviously you guys know I have a fascination with a bunch of crap, to be honest. I have a lot of hobbies, but one of them is the history of tobacco in the United States. When you say tobacco, it triggers different types of thoughts in different people. For a smoker, maybe it triggers, hey, I can go for a smoke. You know, cigarette smoker. Yeah, that sounds good. Tobacco. Sure, I can use that right now. Obviously, cigarette smokers will use tobacco to ease stressful situations. They'll want to light up a cigarette. Obviously, it's out of habit. Sometimes it's for good news, they'll light a cigarette as a celebration. Sometimes for bad news, they'll light a cigarette just to calm themselves down. Regardless, you know, there's different feelings that people have when they hear the word tobacco. A lot of them are negative. A lot of people think, disgusting, cigarette smokers, the whole bad breath, yellow teeth, cancer, that whole thing comes up to mind for a lot of people. I particularly don't like or am very fond of cigarette smoke whatsoever. It makes me sick. Grew up in a household, my father was a heavy cigarette smoker, and it always bothered me, even, you know, when I was younger, but being around it so much, you kind of just get used to it. I mean, it's gross, it stinks, but your body acclimates itself a little bit to it. When you're away from that situation, and then you smell it again, and, you know, a lot of you guys can contest to this in, you know, your personal life experience. If you've been around a smoker or have yourself been a smoker, it's not that bad to be in that situation or, you know, to smell it secondhand. But when you are out of that situation for a while, whether you quit or whether you're not, you know, around smokers anymore, when you do smell it again, it's that much worse. So I am extremely turned off by cigarette smoking. But I'm still very fascinated in tobacco as a whole. Obviously, you guys know that occasionally I will try different cigars. I find that there are really fine tobaccos out there that can be very enjoyable in small quantities. You know, the very small, seldom consumption is the key to my enjoying tobacco. I like tobacco that's natural. I don't like anything processed. That's why I don't like cigarettes. There's way too many additives in it. And also, I don't inhale. I occasionally will smoke a pipe or a cigar for the flavors, for the experience that I have, but it's not that often. It's something I enjoy in very small little bits here and there. That being said, tobacco, whether you think of it or not, or believe it or not, it is a huge, huge part of American history. Tobacco farming was a huge source of income for a lot of Americans, a lot of farmers, of course, a great source of income for the government. It was heavily taxed since its beginnings, and it's still heavily taxed today. Obviously, cigarette smokers know some places you could pay 10 bucks for a pack of cigarettes. So, obviously, you know it's expensive. So anyway, all this is leading up to this. I got this very interesting tobacco recently, and I wanted to do a little unpackaging to look at it, but I want to talk about it a little bit. What makes this so special? Well, this is a little pack of Five Brothers pipe tobacco. Okay, you can see it looks kind of old, and that's because it is old. This is from 1948. Yes, 3 years after World War II ended, this little package of tobacco was created. You can see there the packer. Packed by Baker. Don't know who that is. Don't even know if they're still alive. But anyway, yes, this is an unopened pack of pipe tobacco from 1948. That's extremely old. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to smoke it. I'm going to try it and review it just for the novelty of the fact that this is what the average American was smoking back in the day. Okay, I want to see the differences. I want to see what it's like to have a tobacco that old. Now the first thing you'll think is, wow, that's probably really stale and really, really dry. Yes, it is, but that will be for another video because, of course, if this is interesting to you at all, I will show you how to hydrate old tobacco. Now, it doesn't have to be from 1948. You can have tobacco you bought 2 months ago, maybe you left the seal open, whatever, just got too dried out. There is a simple way to rehydrate your tobacco, as well as dehydrate your tobacco or dry it out a little bit if you do tend to have something that's too wet or too fresh. So it makes for a good video on explaining that process for pipe smokers and or some cigar smokers. But there's obviously a novelty here. I want to try this out. I want to see what it's like, tobacco way back when. Okay, so I just find it interesting. The reason I noticed this from 1948 because I had to do some research on this tax stamp. That's one good thing about a lot of old things are everything that was taxed can be dated. Now, if you look at this particular one on the bottom here, it says Series 118. Now, in 1932, a lot of you guys know, George G. Blaisdell invented the Zippo, but that's not for this video. In 1932, there was a tax act, okay, and they wanted to start using the term or the I guess label Series 102. Okay, so Series 102 represented 1932 for the purposes of taxation. Now, obviously, each year that passed, that number went up. So in 1933, it was Series 103, and so forth. This system was used like this until 1955. So by doing the math, if 1932 was Series 102, this happens to be Series 118, we're looking at another 16 years. So 16 years, added on to 1932 would bring us to 1948. So that's how I know this was made in 1948. It's still unopened, hasn't been touched. In fact, in the center here, you see place for cancellation. There's also sub-laws that when tobacco products, mainly cigars, I don't know if this was specific to cigarette tobacco and or pipe tobacco, but they had to be hand canceled, okay? And there was 2 ways to do it. Later, they started using stamps. So basically, if you went to a little convenience store or whatever and you bought some tobacco, right then and there, as soon as you purchase it, they take their stamp and they would stamp it. It would cancel the taxation on the front. So basically, you as the customer or consumer can't resell it. The government, they got their tax money, it's done. You can't sell it anymore, so they cancel the tax on it. Before stamps, rubber stamps and inks was used, there was a little machine that was made little perforated holes that matched the date. Okay, so a lot of the old ones, if you happen to be someone who collects old tax stamps, you'll see those little perforations in there as well. So because this was not canceled, that tells me this was never actually sold. This was in a store and or storage. No one actually purchased this. Don't know its background or its story. This was came from an estate lot. It was in someone's collection. So here it is today. Now, obviously, this is a very nifty little thing to kind of keep on a shelf and display and talk about if anyone's interested. Maybe something to keep displayed with your pipes. But I'm a weirdo, and I don't want to just display it. What's the point in that? I'm going to hang on to it for 20 years and talk about it, once every 5. No, I want to smoke it. I want you to experience it through me. So we're going to break this open in this video and take a look at it first, see how it's packaged inside, because all I can tell right now is that it is just, it feels like it's loose, which it might be, but I don't know. We're going to open it up and find out together. So anyway, Five Brothers is one of the tobaccos that were available at the time. Back when, it's not like today, there's so much variety in tobacco. For a very long time, tobacco was sold as tobacco, okay? Which means you bought tobacco and you did multiple things with it. You could just chew it, you could roll it into cigarettes, you could pack it into your pipe. They weren't, not all tobacco was specific to one purpose. Whereas now, if you want chewing tobacco, you buy specific chewing tobacco. You wouldn't chew a cigarette. Back then it was just a little more versatile, but this one was obviously marketed specifically as pipe tobacco, which is really interesting. So I'm hoping that means it was never processed. Of course, back when tobacco wasn't processed like it is today. Some other more popular brands for pipe tobacco at the time was Prince Albert. Prince Albert has been around a very long time, still sold today. In fact, Five Brothers is still available today. Obviously not this exact kind, but Five Brothers brand is still available. I'm not actually sure what that's like whatsoever. If I get a hold of it in the future, maybe I'll try it as well, compare it to this. But yeah, currently as 2013, you can still find Five Brothers. A little bit harder to find. I think you have to go online to find that unless you happen to have it at your local smoke shop. I think it also comes in a small pouch. But anyway, besides that, George Washington brand pipe tobacco was available in 48, and also Sir Walter Raleigh, another popular, cheaper drugstore type pipe tobacco, also available in 1948. So Five Brothers kind of faded in and out over the years, from my understanding, reading their history. But that's what I got a hold of here. So you see a little logo, little pipe on the front, Five Brothers, okay. Guaranteed by an American tobacco company. Which means that if this package for any reason is unsatisfactory, you can get your money back from the dealer. I don't know, should I contact the dealer? John Fitzer and Brothers from Louisville, Kentucky. The American Tobacco Company, successor. This smoking tobacco is manufactured from carefully selected Kentucky and Tennessee leaf. It is packed in cases by hand without the use of machinery and is not broken. And again, there you go. The packer is Baker. Open from this end, which we will. Let's see. Factory number 1, District of Virginia. Notice the manufacturer of this tobacco has complied with all requirements by law or of law. Every person is cautioned under penalties of law not to use this package for tobacco again. Alrighty. So anyway, if you notice, there's little tiny bits falling out of the end. Obviously, the very small bits are weaseling their way through this paper. So it leads me to believe that basically there's just a chunk in here. I don't think there's any other wrapping. But I don't know. This has been like this since 1948. And right now we're going to open it up and take a peek on the inside. So here we go. I just find this stuff interesting. Anyway, since we're going to review this very soon, here we go. Didn't push hard enough. There we go. That's definitely cut now. Okay, so we broke the seal. Just curious to open this up and see what we got going on. And there we go. We have a brick of loose tobacco. Interesting. All right, let's pull a little bit out here. Obviously extremely dry. There you have it. Let me smell it. Oh, interesting. It smells kind of on the sweet side. It smells similar to a cigarette tobacco. Actually, you know what it smells like? This is very strange, but it smells like the instant iced tea mix. If you ever got a, you know, the big, huge canister, like from Costco or from your store, like just the massive thing that's like $2 of like instant iced tea mix that's like already sweetened, that crap. That's exactly what that smells like. Wow, that is fascinating. So, there you have it. By the way, it said it on the tax stamp here, but this is 1 5/8 ounces of tobacco. Right there. Oh, and there's the act of February 26, 1926. That was the Taxation Act. So, anyway, yeah, there we have it. So, obviously extremely old and dry and crumbly, so I won't take any more out. I'm going to show you how to rehydrate this so it is in smokable form. If I were to put this in my pipe right now and smoke it, a lot of the really fine particles would just suck right through the pipe and right into my mouth. It would be quite a disgusting experience. So I'm going to attempt to hydrate some of this so I can have a smoking experience and let you guys know what I think of it. So yeah, I had an interest for a long time now in trying a vintage pipe tobacco. A lot of people, they get into that kind of stuff. They will collect some of the older pipe tobaccos from like the 70s and 80s, things you can't get anymore. They like to compare them. A lot of the Dunhill mixtures, you know, Dunhill Nightcap, very heavily sought after to begin with, but of course, you know, you get an unopened tin from like 1982. You can compare it and see what the difference is over time. So I want to surpass all that stuff and find something that was really old and interesting. And this is certainly interesting. To me anyway. I mean, if you're still listening to what I'm saying right this second, it's probably somewhat interesting to you, and or your fingers are sticky from your dinner so you can't unclick the video yet on your mouse. Either way, I thank you very much for watching. And like I said, look forward to a video on hydrating dried out tobacco and eventually trying this out in my pipe. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Take care.